Hi, I'm Ron Smith, your local paver sealing expert and owner of Premier Coatings Brick Paver Sealing. We're here with one of our senior technicians, and we're going to give you kind of a behind-the-scenes, step-by-step look at our unique paver sealing and restoration process. We're going to walk you through the steps on how we do things a little bit differently than most everyone else. Okay, first thing we do is we pressure wash the entire area. That's pretty standard. Most everyone's going to pressure wash it first. We're going to focus to get out any grass, any weeds, any mold, any mildew or algae that's there, any old sand. We're going to get all that out. We'll get it taken care of. One of the things that we do that's a little bit different is during our pressure washing process, we also apply an algicide. It kind of acts as a growth inhibitor. You know, if you've got any growth that's there, simply washing it's not going to kill it. And unless we kill it, it's just going to grow back on you. So we apply the algicide, it gets down into the joints, it gets into the pores of the pavers. It'll kill the mold, it'll kill the mildew, it'll kill the algae, and it continues to keep working over time so it doesn't just rapidly grow back on you. We rinse everything down and then we redo the sand in between the joints. Another thing that's a little bit different about us is the sand that we use. What most everyone else does, or what the traditional method calls for, is for using play sand, using all-purpose sand, or what some people call paver sand. Now there's a number of different reasons why we don't use that type of sand, but the main reason is it has a lot of impurities in it as well as a lot of nutrients. And those nutrients just continuously feed and accelerate that growth of mold, mildew, and algae. You're left with black and green coming up in between the joints. So a few years ago we switched over and we started using a blend of silica sand. Now the silica sand that we use, it doesn't have all those rich nutrients in it, so it's going to give you a much better resistance to that growth of mold, mildew, and algae. And with my process, when we seal it, the sand in between the joints, it's going to get rock hard. So it's going to minimize how much sand washes out when we get the heavy rains that we know we're going to get. So we redo the sand, nice, neat, even, and uniform all the way around, making sure that the sand is just simply in between the joints only. It's not caked up on the surface, it's not built in the corners, it's just in between the joints. We blow off the surface, and when we blow off the surface, we start at the edge of the pool and we work away from the pool, making sure that we're not blowing any sand into your pool there. Then we take out our shop vac. We'll go around all the edges, all the corners, all of the rails, anywhere where that sand just kind of has a tendency to build up and accumulate. We take our shop vac out and we suck that up so it's not left behind to just be sealed in. Then we inspect everything. At this point, we'll basically go inch by inch, paver by paver. Just looking, we want to make sure that all the sand joints are nice, even, and uniform. We didn't miss anything, and if there's any touch-ups that need to take place, now's our chance. We go ahead, we make those touch-ups. Once we're confident that everything looks as good as it can possibly look, well, then and only then do we move on to the sealing portion of the process. Now, even when we seal, we do that a little differently than most everyone else. I'm not just going to put a light dusting of sealer down on the surface. If I were to do that, we know it would wear off in 6 months to a year. You'd be in the same position you're in now. We do what I developed here is what we call very, very heavy flood coats of sealer. Basically, we put the sealer down in such a heavy fashion, it's going to cause that sealer to puddle up and pool up in between the joints. This way, all that sand that's there, it's going to absorb that sealer, so when it dries, the sand dries hard as a rock. Again, it's going to minimize how much sand washes out with those heavy rains. Now, the other reason why we put the sealer down extra heavy, it's really just so it lasts you extra long. Nobody wants to go through this process every year, or every other year for that matter. And with my process, most of my customers can usually get anywhere between 3, 4, sometimes even 5 years before it needs to be resealed again. And what you can expect it to look like is like it looks when you put some water on the surface. It'll bring out those colors, it'll make it look nice and rich and vibrant. Now we have a 2-coat option. With the 2 coats, it'll bring the colors out, it'll make it look rich and vibrant. Typically speaking, on the 2-coat option, it's not really going to bring out a whole lot of shine. Usually on the 2 coats, you'll have that nice rich color enhancement, and you'll have like a satin finish when it's all said and done. Then we have the 3-coat option. With 3 coats, you get an extra year on the warranty, another layer of protection. With 3 coats, it's a little easier to keep clean, such as if you had to rinse off bird droppings or something like that. And on the 3rd coat, we can play with that shine a little bit. Now, what I mean by that, if you still wanted to maintain that satin finish that you get with 2 coats, that's not a problem. We can still maintain that. However, on the 3rd coat, if you decided you wanted something with a little bit more shine, at that point on the 3rd coat, we can increase the concentration of sealer to then bring you more of a semi to a medium gloss finish. At that point on the 3rd coat, it is up to you, but you do get an extra year on the warranty. If you're ready for your free estimate, you can give us a call. You can reach me on my cell, which is 727-237-5953. You can submit a form through our website, which is premiercoatingsfl.com, or you can click this button down below and we'll get you scheduled for a free estimate. Thanks for watching.